Welcome to another episode of the Javier and Mo Show. I'm Mo Aziza. I'm sitting here with the coach, Javier Mendez. How are you today, coach?
I'm good. I just have a tremendous headache, but other than that, I'm surviving.
We were speaking earlier and having lunch that you have good pain tolerance, and we were discussing how is that not always a good thing to be able to tolerate pain really well.
No, it's not, because you tolerate it, right? And you don't realize that there's major problems happening. So having that is good, but not paying attention to the pain, and seeing a medical professional, is bad, because you think you can handle it. And all this, next thing you know, you're either dead or you're in the hospital getting operated on.
So have you been always like that, or is this part of being a fighter yourself that you're like, it's pain, I'm gonna keep going through it?
I don't think it has anything to do with me fighting. I just think that's who I was as a kid and
As a person?
As a person, yeah. I don't attribute it to fighting. I really don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't attribute it to fighting. I mean, you learn how to fight, okay, but your toughness is your toughness.
Yeah, I see, but being a fighter, you have to be able to tolerate pain. So it's even if you don't have it, you must work on that to have it.
Yeah, I mean, you all have to do that, but I think in any sport, you really have to adjust to the pain, right? You really do. But you hit me with a really tricky one, because that's you came off left field with me on that one. And first time, I think you may have stumped me on that one. So let me think about that some more before I say anything.
Okay.
So I'll dwell on that a little bit.
So we talk about it next episode.
Yeah, maybe next episode, or maybe here, because you just stumped me.
Okay. Do you need a minute?
I don't need a minute.
Okay.
And maybe an hour.
Okay, so some news happened last week where we didn't cover it, which I was trying to tell you right before the show. Dana White is no longer part of the new boxing promotion of Turki Al-Sheikh and the TKO thing. You heard about it, right? Dana White was supposed to be promoting the Canelo fight.
I heard that Dana was part of it, and I thought, great, but now they're not.
So now they're not, and Turki Al-Sheikh announced that Silla, S-E-L-A, is going to be the new promoter for the Canelo and Terence Crawford.
Crawford, yeah. That'd be a great fight. The only thing I can think about that is two lions. One's a king lion, the other one has to be below the king lion. So I know Dana's a king lion and Turk's a king lion. So the only thing I'm thinking about is there's only one captain, there's only one general. It's like someone's got to be below. But Dana's he's all the above. He's a general, he's a captain, he's the leader. And Turk's the same way. So I'm thinking maybe that was an issue, that they didn't see eye to eye.
Okay.
And that could be wrong, but if you know anything about any of them, they're leaders. So I don't know who's going to lead who. That's my thought process. I'm not saying I'm right.
Yeah.
Just saying that's my thought process.
I was reading on the internet, and the fact that Dana White was going to be a boxing promoter upset a lot of MMA fans, because they're like, why are you not focusing on the UFC? UFC deserves all your time and attention, especially that he has Power Slap to promote as well. And the UFC is not in the best place right now, so it needed Dana White's attention and promotion, because he's great when it comes to media and talking, and people love him as a personality. So now that he stepped out to do boxing, people are like, no, but we need you more in the MMA. We need you more in the UFC. So it's actually good news for the MMA fans.
Is it good news for the MMA fans, or is it something that potentially his bosses told him that maybe go back to the UFC because they were hurting? Because they are a fantastic business and they know how to run business. So maybe they saw what you're talking about and said, hey, Dana, maybe now's not the time, because we need you here. Because he is a polarizing figure. We all know that. And him not being the head figure there, could hurt him more. I don't know. Me, I'm a fan anyway, so it wouldn't matter for me, but he is very important to the sport.
Yeah, like he's the face of the sport, let's say.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Without Dana White being there, there's a lot of people behind this machine. I don't know, we were talking in this show or off air about, I think it was off air, we were talking about Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter Campbell. Yeah,
Yeah, and how great, like how he's
he's good.
as a matchmaker.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's a matchmaker per se,
Yeah.
but as a head guy, he's good.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
behind the scenes and he does fantastic work behind the scenes. I've seen him do things. I don't know him personally, but I've seen the things he's done. I've heard from other people what he does, you know. So no, that guy's good, but he's not the head guy. He doesn't. No one knows him as the lead guy. They know Dana is the lead guy. So
Yeah.
Hunter, I don't even think 95% of the fans know who he is, but I think that's done on purpose. I don't think Hunter's out there for people to know who he is. He just works behind the scenes.
Plus, it's always a personality type. Some people don't like to be on camera.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you an example. Like when the UFC was bought from the what do you call it? I forgot the guy's name, but Lorenzo Fertitta, the Fertitta brothers, the Station Casinos, when they bought the UFC from Bob Meyerowitz, I'm sorry, that's it, Bob Meyerowitz, Lorenzo Fertitta was behind the scenes. You know, Dana White was the president. He was the head guy up front. He was the face. He was the one speaking, not Lorenzo.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not because Lorenzo couldn't be the speaker. He just didn't want to be the speaker. He put Dana in that position, and it worked out fantastic. So they must have seen something in Dana that was going to be good for them, and that's what they did. And it turned out fantastic. You know, but again, we're talking about a situation, a very powerful guy, very successful guy.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be in the limelight. So we could be talking about the same thing with Hunter. He could be in the same situation where he doesn't want to be in the limelight. He wants to be behind making power plays and power moves, you know, and there will be a person out front that's the Dana, you know, and that's not Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, Dana's going to be a tough one to replace. Like, who are they going to replace him with once he retires? Because he keeps mentioning that retirement is coming sometime soon. We never know when. But it's going to be difficult for the UFC to find that character. Because the president is like the character. He's the main character.
Yeah, he's an entertainment by himself. What he says, when he says it,
His press conference after, you know what I mean, the post-fight press conferences.
He can play with people too. He can play with the media because they have a good way of turning his words around. So he's learned how to master them. So he's like the puppet master. You know, they're not controlling him. He's controlling them. He's learned how to control the media with what he says and bring him to what he wants to do. Keep it his agenda. That's a very smart man. And that's what Dana's been doing. He's very smart, very smart. He's not allowing the media to control him. And the ones that do, they're not allowed, you know?
Yeah.
And that's smart. That's smart business because, you know, got to understand one thing. The UFC is a smart business. Okay. That's number one. It's not about equality. That's a business. You know, if you're going to hurt my business, then guess what? You know, I'm not going to have you in my business because you're hurting my sales. Forget it.
Yeah, I'm going to dive in deeper. Being a business and a smart business, that's all good. But if you don't have media personalities to push the business, like, for example, I think Scott Coker is a genius and I think he's really smart. But because I don't feel like he likes that media as much as Dana White, that's where it affected him. That's my opinion.
Well, with Scott Coker, you're 100% correct. He is a genius in the promotion business, but he's a diplomat. You know, he lacks diplomacy. He doesn't like to get into heated arguments with anybody in public. He keeps it below. You know, he's very mild-mannered in that regard, and he doesn't want the attention. I mean, he's the creator. He likes creating these big events, and then he sits back and relaxes, you know, and the reason why he's not as big as he should be is because the promotions that he was involved with sold out. Like Strikeforce, UFC bought them out, but not through Scott's desire to sell out. He didn't want to, but his partners back then wanted to sell, so they had more control than what he had. So they basically sold something that he didn't want to be sold because he was the one working behind Strikeforce. And think about all the stars that came out of Strikeforce: Ronda Rousey, you know, the Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold, Tyrone Woodley. The name goes on and on and on. I can keep going. And all these people became big, huge stars in the UFC. They were Strikeforce, you know. So you're right. And then the other thing with Bellator, I mean, he was the president of Bellator. He didn't own Bellator. And then when Bellator sold, he wanted to buy it. But as an employee of the company, it was forbidden for any employee to buy the company. So he was basically, again, out. And he was building a good brand with Bellator, you know. So his situation had nothing to do with his greatness, had something to do with the people that were doing something that was not in his control.
Yeah, yeah. No, all I'm saying, like, I'm trying to to see what's different between Dana White and Scott Coker, I would say Scott is a smarter when it comes to organization and business, because I feel like it's mainly by himself he's done these organizations, where Dana White was supported by other smart men around him.
Yeah.
But because of Dana White's ability to be a media personality and to get out there, that's where the difference was. It's not about brains. You know what I mean? It's not about. I think Scott, as I said, is great. It's just where he lacked is the media thing. When something that sometimes you don't think of that, like all I have to do is my plan and my business plan, which Scott was great, but the media thing is.
Well, again, it was something by choice. That's who he is.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, had Strikeforce not sold, had it not sold,
yeah,
we might be talking a different story right now. That's what
I
I'm
see what
trying
you're
to say.
saying.
That's what I'm saying. This is like he wasn't given an opportunity to grow it properly because it got sold out. And Bellator was starting to make a little bit of gains, but obviously the UFC is so far ahead. But still, he was making some good gains before they sold. So it's one of those situations with him. So again, he knew what he was doing. He knew what position he wanted to be.
Yeah.
Hey, give somebody else that spotlight. I don't want it. He never wanted that. He never wanted that. He wanted to create, sit back. I've known him forever. He was my instructor, So I know Scott. I know what he's all about. And, he's all about creation, great events, and having people enjoy it. And he doesn't have to take the credit. He doesn't have to take the credit. He just wants to create it.
Okay, let me clear my intention before I read the comments, because I know people are going to jump on me. What I'm trying to say here is I'm not saying anything bad on Scott. All I'm trying to say...
You're talking good about Scott. So no. I'm just explaining to you how he works. You're not saying nothing negative about Scott. So that no one's going to... I don't think they should. They shouldn't, because you've said nothing but great things about him. You said genius.
Yes, he is.
So come on. Yes, I understand that too. But Dana, in his own way, is a genius too. They're both pretty remarkable in their positions. So honestly speaking,
I'm just saying Dana figured out the power of media. That was my intention. That's he figured out the media way before.
I'm with you. Normally I'm not with you. I'm with you. You're right.
That's the only thing I got to give it to Dana.
See, I got to hit it. Today you're more right than
like, for example, I look at Dana and he's like 55 years old, 56, 57, around that age. But he figured out the new generation and what they're into, like all these TikTokers and the streamers and the podcasters. And he would always invite them in Power Slap and the UFC. You'd see them sitting front row. Like, he's figured out the power of the media from the beginning. And now he's older. He still knows that the power of media. For example, Hasbullah, he captured the attention. Like, all right, Hasbullah, we're hanging out. You're going to be in the UFC game. You're going to do this.
He made Hasbullah a household name almost overnight. Almost overnight. And why? Because he knew what he had in Hasbullah. And, the Melky boys, and there's a Melky, right? Milk boys?
The Nelk boys.
Not Nelk with the N, right? Not M. I think Nelk. I think you're right. I think you're right. Well, he put them on them. And I didn't know who the hell those guys were. Then I seen who they were. Like, okay, they're pretty good guys. So,
and I think part of him figuring these out is what helped Donald Trump in his campaign. Like, he sent these Nelk boys to do podcasts with Donald Trump is because he figured out that this is how you promote.
Listen, in my opinion, I believe Donald Trump got put in this position and much stronger because of that situation. Joe Rogan was huge for him.
But way before the Joe Rogan thing.
The Nelk boys were on him before. I saw that. But what I'm just saying is the overall combination of the MMA community coming to the Trump's side was a big swing for him. I know it. Because, there's a big MMA population, and Joe Rogan had a big, audience in his podcast. So that was a great move on the president to do that. So they knew that. They knew their joy. They have the algorithm. They know where they could go and where they can't go. So
yes.
But the Nelk boys were first. You're correct.
I'm just saying Dana White got the blueprint of media and he passed it to Donald Trump.
But I'm agreeing with you. Why are you saying I'm this, that? I'm agreeing with you.
No, I just wanted to clear my intention on what's the difference between...
You're cleared. And I'm like, hey, it's good. We're good.
Yeah, that's the only difference between Scott and Dana. I think Scott has more advantage in critical thinking and figuring things inside the promotion, how to have it as a promotion by itself. Like, he would be able to figure it on his own. He doesn't need help. And Dana got the advantage over the media.
I'll tell you the thing, because number one is you go to the UFC staff and you got maybe 200 You go to Strikeforce staff or Bellator staff, you got maybe 20.
And they're running a whole
They're
organization.
doing what the 200 people do.
That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, so that's Scott. But Scott's thinking out the box, like you're saying. Scott's doing a lot of these decision making, whereas Dana just points to the people. You take and they do it, which is smart too. You got to pick the right people. But Scott does that. He does a lot of the work that you don't realize that he's doing. He does a lot, and does every bit of that promotion from A to Z. He does it. He's involved. You know, and where Dana's not. So that's Scott. Scott's involved in all of it.
Okay. Speaking of big names and big news, there's a petition going on right now over stripping Jon Jones of his title. It's got over, 115,000 signatures of people want to strip Jon Jones of his title. What's your thoughts? Should he be stripped?
115,000?
115,000 last time I checked yesterday. Maybe it's more today.
Wow.
Yeah. Can check right now.
It's kind of like you can't hold up the division, and it's like the UFC has to either say you fight or you vacate, and that's what you have to do, and that's kind of like what they've been doing, But Jon has been, everybody has a right to try to get the best situation for themselves, and once you're a company guy, you've been a company guy all this time, but then the company doesn't really come to your rescue like you think they should or would. And fighters get a little bit like, well, I've done this, I've done that, but I don't get this. So they become a little soured, So,
yes.
So it's kind of one of those things. So I think with Jon, I think he's done so much for the sport and for so many years. He's got away with so much for so many years that, he's still calling the shots. So it's kind of like it's not fair that the division is being held up. I think that Aspinall is the true number one heir to that title, next shot, and he holds the, his title, but just to me, it's the number one ranking title. So I think that basically they need to call it, and they need to basically make the fight with Aspinall against whoever for the title, because you can't be having a champion hold you up like that. It's like, you got to give us a date. You can't just take a year or 2 years before you can defend your title. You can't hold up the title that long. It shouldn't be. I think a champion should mandatorily, be able to fight twice a year, unless he's injured or something. And if he's injured, that's when they put, the champion that I don't really,
the interim champ.
Yeah, I don't consider that championship, but that's what they do, the interim champ. So in this case, Aspinall is already the interim champ. So what are you going to do with him?
Exactly.
You're gonna what is he gonna do?
And he defended it.
Yeah, he needs to fight for the title, and he needs to fight for the title. He's been waiting, so he needs to fight. So Jon Jones needs to fight, or I'm sorry to say, he needs to vacate. That's the way it should be. But I say that at the same time too. But Jon Jones has a lot of power. He's been there and he's done a lot. So if they're looking at the numbers are going to tell them what they're going to do. So if it's good business to keep him as champion, they will keep him as champion. If it's good business to let somebody else fight for the title, that's what they're going to do. I mean, they go on the algorithm. They're going to go on who's going to make the most money. This is not a true sport. So those are people that get upset, this and that. You got to remember, it's not a true sport. How is it possible that someone like Chael Sonnen can fight for a world title, lose, and then fight again for the world title, the next one again? It's like, how does that happen?
Like Sean O'Malley now with Merab.
Well, Sean O'Malley, he
lost to Merab, and now he's fighting again.
He's fighting again, but at least he won before. He beat the what do you call it? The kid that beat him. The kid that beat him the first time.
He didn't fight after.
No, he fought after.
After his loss, no.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Sean O'Malley?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. He fought what's his name? The guy from Latin America.
Yeah, Chito Vera.
Chito Vera.
That was before.
He fought him before?
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting the rematch. Oh, it's because he's injured then. He was injured. Or he wasn't ready, right?
He fought him last September in the Sphere, remember?
Yeah.
The Sphere show?
Again, it comes down to he's a perfect example.
So his loss with Merab, and now he's getting another title shot.
Yeah, so you've been right all day today. So, dang it. So, it's because, number one, he is very popular. People want to see him.
Yeah. It's like another Chael Sonnen.
He's another Chael Sonnen, but to me, he's more of a threat to win. That's what I guess the reason that disconnected with me, because I never thought Chael was going to win. I always thought he wasn't going to win, you know. So I guess it's just me thinking, you know, but I think that he can win. So that's maybe why. But you're right. It's the same kind of thing. He gets to fight for the title. But yeah, same. He lost and he gets to fight again because that fight wasn't close. The fight was not close.
Which one?
The one when he fought, when he lost the title. When Sean lost to Merab, it wasn't a close fight. It was a clear one-sided fight.
Yeah, I mean,
for the fifth round.
Yeah, I mean, you can give him 2 rounds easily to Sean, and 2 versus 3, yes, but it wasn't like that dominant. Like he got destroyed.
No, he didn't get destroyed. He got controlled.
Yeah,
he wasn't in the fight. I'm telling you, he was not in the fight.
Yeah.
I know he knows he wasn't in the fight, but I think he's going to change it this time around, and I think he's going to have a different attack plan, and I think they're going to go out there and use his weapons properly. And let's see what happens. I mean, you know,
yeah. But is it fair? I would say it's not. He should not get that title.
From a sport, no.
He shouldn't.
No. From a sport, no. But from entertainment, yes. Yes,
with
because
all due respect,
more money.
I don't see how Sean O'Malley is suddenly like it's being forced upon our throats that he's a star. He's a cool kid. He's not a star though. Like I like Sean. I watch his fights. I like his style. But why are you forcing that he's a star? You know what it's like? You can't tell me who he is. I got to decide as a spectator who he is.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think he's a star. I don't think he's a big star,
like,
but he's a star.
He's a cool guy. He's not.
No, he's cool, but he's a star. He really is. I'm telling you, I've seen him around people. He's a star. Not a huge star, but he's a star. You know, I'm not going to say he's not a star. He's a star.
But coach, when I think of a star, I would think the names what we know of stars. I mean, when you ask anybody who's a star, and they would tell you, Conor, Khabib.
Yeah, but those are bigger stars, you know. But
DC, Jon Jones.
Those are bigger stars.
Yeah.
But that still does not make him a star. He is a star. He's just not as big, you know. But you know, who knows? Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with this fight coming up. You know, I mean, let's give him that shot. But he is definitely a star.
They're building him to be a star.
No.
He is not a star. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna.
He's a little star. I'm sorry, he's a star. You've been right about everything, but on this one, I'm not giving up. He's a star, just not a big one yet.
Yeah, like he's not Alex Pereira. He's not Israel Adesanya to get a title shot after like who? Like you mean he's not? He hasn't won 4 or 5. He didn't defend his title 4 or 5 times to be able to do something like that. Like who are you?
He's somebody that they like, and he's somebody people like.
They like him.
Yeah, they like him, but people like him too. You know, I'm telling you, people like him. He's a little star. He's not bigger than the guys you mentioned, but I'm telling you right now, you put all the people out there, all the top 5 contenders in each weight division, Sean O'Malley is going to rise to the top right there as far as the most popular in every one of those divisions.
Let's debate. Here is the divisions.
Okay.
I mean, they're all big. You know what I mean? Like Ilia Topuria is big. Islam is big. Dricus Duplessis is Alex Pereira.
What are you talking about? Magomed's not big. Okay. Jack is not big.
Jack is not.
No. And you know, no, I'm right. It's like, no. They're champions, and they're gonna be big. The biggest ones here is Islam and then Dricus.
But funny enough, his weight class, you know what I mean? The where's the bantamweight? Sorry.
You had to show me the wrong weight class.
No, this is for like where's the others? It wasn't printed, but we know the bantamweight. One of your students, Omar, is there. So you've got Omar, Merab, Sean O'Malley, Chito Vera. What's his name? The American kid.
Oh, you're talking about Corey Sandhagen?
Corey Sandhagen.
And you forgot about Peter Yan?
Peter Yan. Like I'm saying, all these names are, to me, as big as Sean. But why are you making Sean sound like he's bigger than them?
He's
like
look,
Corey is amazing.
Look,
Peter Yan is amazing. Who's Sean?
Yeah, but if you put him in amongst those guys, he's right there with them. You know, he's
right there with them.
Right there with them. I'm not saying he's a big star, but I'm saying he's a star. And I'm telling you, I would say Umar's a star, Merab's a star.
Yeah.
I would say Peter Yan's a star. So I'm telling you, he's a star too.
Yeah.
So those two I mean, those people I just mentioned, those are the guys I say are stars in that bantamweight division. So you have Merab, I think is a star, not a big star, but he's a star. Okay, Peter Yan, star, not a huge star, but a star. Okay, then you got who you say is not, and then you got Umar, who I say is a star too, not a big star, but he has great potential.
But all of these names would not get an immediate rematch. They wouldn't.
Probably not, because they haven't. Because Peter Yan lost, he didn't get a rematch.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna go with you on that. But then now we're gonna go on the algorithm.
Yeah.
How much of what the UFC is looking at what this guy sells? Okay, because that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about legitly what you and I as a fan think. We're talking about what they think as what's going to make the most money for the company. This is not about anything else but that. This is always a business first. It always has been. What do you call it for American Top Team? Mike Brown, right?
Okay.
I read a thing about him. He is spot on in everything he said. Spot on. There was anything he didn't say on there that was not correct. Everything he said was correct. And basically, it's like, hey, you guys, if you don't understand the business, suck it up. Because, whether you get the title or don't get the title, you just got to move on and continue doing what you're doing. And like for his guy, his guy is like 7-0 or 9-0 in the UFC, Movsar.
Yep.
Okay. And he still doesn't get any title shots, which he should. But he's not getting a title shot because why? Because all his fights, I think, went to a decision.
So I made the math. It's 63% of his fights, of his wins, went to the decision. He has 19 wins, 12 of them went to decision. He's a decision fighter. We can't deny that.
Yeah.
People will want to rally behind him. Why he's not getting a title shot? What's going on? What's wrong with the UFC? So this is where I can stand behind the UFC. Where I stand against them is a Sean O'Malley thing. But where I stand with the UFC is a Movsar thing. It's like, no, he doesn't deserve it. The last 6-7 fights of his were all decisions.
But you're going on a fan type thing again, somewhat, because this guy hasn't lost by all rights. If it was a real sport, Movsar gets the title shot, hands down. But he's not, because he needs to do more. Just like Ankalaev, same thing with him. He should have got the shot. They didn't give him the shot. They were avoiding the shot, and all of a sudden they gave it to him. Why? Because they figured that the slight chance that maybe Pereira wouldn't win, and they're going to replace somebody with somebody that wasn't as valuable. They don't want to lose that value in what the product.
Or as a business.
Lose the value. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying that's not their only worst case scenario that he would lose, that Pereira would lose. They have another worst case scenario, which is Pereira would lose in a decision. So now we paid Pereira a lot of money for him to fight, and he lost over a decision. Everybody got bored. What's going on? Who's this fight? You know what I mean? Like, nobody got excited. It didn't sell anything like for the next fight. You know what I mean?
No, it didn't.
The next fight is nobody's excited for the next fight.
No.
If Alex Pereira was knocked out, it would change everything.
Well,
it would change. Like, you know what I mean? It would be worth the money that they paid Alex Pereira. But now they paid him a couple million. I don't know how much they're paying him, but it's a lot of money.
Sometimes it's just based on how charismatic the fighter is. Sometimes it happens that way. And
either you're a star or you're a finisher. There's 2 rules to the UFC.
Well, to me, you're a star. You're a star. It's whether you finish or don't finish, you're a star. So it just so happens to be that people like people that finish. So the fans like someone that finishes, a fighter that finishes. But that doesn't mean that somebody that doesn't finish as much can't be a star, because there might be something outside of what he does that makes him one. Okay, a perfect example, if this guy would have won, Colby Covington, okay, he became big because of what he did outside, not what he did
his
inside.
Character.
Yeah, his character. So imagine if he would have won and not finished people. His character is fantastic. So
you have to do something.
A star. So yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Is but if they don't want to, they shouldn't cry, because it's entertainment. Entertainment. That's the key word. Entertainment.
Yeah.
So if you understand that, don't complain if they're not giving you the shot. If you are boring to the fans.
Yes.
Okay. To me, no. When I see Movsar, someone like that, I see a technician. I see how great they are, and how, I'm trying to figure out, how do you break this guy? How do you beat this guy? For me, it's different. But for a fan, they just want action. They want entertainment. And if you're not giving them that, they're booing you. They're so quick to boo you, So I appreciate these guys for the talent and the skill set they have. And some of the best fights for me are not necessarily the ones that are the most exciting. They're the ones that are very technical. And I love them where they're trying to break each other, and they're trying to, figure out, okay, can I do this? No, I can't do that. Okay, I'm going to try this move. I can't do that move. I mean, they're just trying to checkmate each other, and they just can't. And I love that because I know what they're trying to do. But as a fan, if I am not into the technical side and I don't really fully understand it, I want to see these guys haymakers or big submission slams or this and that, then that's a different story. But I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that's looking on the technical aspect, and I like that. I like the game plan and follow the plan. I love that. So for me, I'm more involved. But as a fan, the general fan, no way. They would find fights that I find entertaining very boring.
Yes, but in some cases, like for example, what you just described is how I felt about Umar leading up to his title shot. It's like, yes, come on, get it. You mean I'm hoping they give it to him, and they eventually did. But because Umar is that guy, he was winning some decisions, he was winning some knockouts. He's got it all, but they were not giving it to him. And when he got it, you got it just because you're Khabib's cousin. Not really, but he's also an entertaining fighter.
Yes, but also there was a lot of things behind the scenes on that. A lot of the guys didn't want to fight him because of the fact that he was ranked too high, and they didn't want to give their opportunities up. They didn't want to give up their opportunities. So Corey Sandhagen fought him because he was promised that whoever won that fight was going to get a title fight. So yeah, Umar had a lot of things going for him. One, he is going to be a star. He is a little star now. Number two, he is Khabib's cousin. Okay. Number three, he's an exciting fighter. Yes. So he has all those attributes. And number four, he's such a nice guy that when people look at him, they oh, he's such a nice fighter. People love him because of how nice he is. So he has a lot of things going on for him, not just one thing. Oh, he's just Khabib's cousin, so he got no. But there is some truth to that. But mostly, he's a great fighter potentially to be. He's not where he needs to be yet, but he has that potential. So you have to have all those ingredients, and he actually does. So
I love Umar. I've said it before. He's my favorite out of. I don't know. I see huge potential to him. I can see him becoming the best, the greatest bantamweight of all time. I don't know. I see it happening.
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
We got to get back and get our first fight first, and we'll go from there. But I agree with his potential. I've always believed that, and even this one loss didn't distract me from anything on his potential. No way.
I think that was great for him.
I still stand strong behind him, 100%.
Yeah, I think that loss was perfect for him because it's just going to bring the fire inside of him. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't have preferred not to have that. I would have preferred him to have won that title because he would have been bigger, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, it would have been big, but all I'm saying is like that he would have continued going on that trajectory, but that one loss is gonna just I don't know.
Well,
maybe I'm over
No.
I'm just a fan of Umar. Maybe that's why.
Maybe sometimes we do that when we favor someone. I favor my guys all the time. You can always see my bias when you hear me. I'm like, oh, he's just saying because they're his guys. Duh. I'm gonna go against my guys. Why they're my guys? Because I love my guys. I'm gonna be with them all the time, and I'm gonna favor them. Of course I am. Why, if the close decision, you think I'm gonna go, my guy lost a close decision? Hell no. I'm gonna say my guy won. I don't want to believe that. I'm gonna believe that because I believe in my guys, and that's what I always continue to do. And I'm very proud of the fact that I can admit that because it's the truth. If it's a close fight, you think I'm going to go, well, the other guy won? I'm going to go, no, my guy won. But if we don't win, I'm going to go, well, I thought you won, but hey, the judges didn't see it that way.
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
Yes.
I'm not going to look at, well, it was a close fight, that guy took it. No way. The close fight, I'm going to go, my guy took it all the time. That's the way I want to believe.
You with your boys till the end.
Yes. Yes. I learned that the hard way because, shifting the blame, it's like, no, I learned that. Don't shift the blame. Take it upon yourself. If you're the head coach or you're one of the head coaches, then what did you do that you couldn't get across to your fighter for him to perform? What didn't you do in practice, or what did you do that was wrong? You got to look at those type of things. You can't, I used to, a long time ago, I used to go, it wasn't me. I showed him that. He didn't do it, but it's like, that was so wrong of me. It's like, why? Why didn't I look at why I couldn't fix it? Why? What do I need to do to fix it next time? Instead of tossing the blame, I should have took the dagger and then looked to take that dagger out and not let it come back into my heart, and that's what I should have done. And I didn't do that until now. Most recently, five years ago, I started, getting better and better. And to the point I am right now, I wish I had a coach like me now when I was fighting, because then I'd have someone that put my mind together the way it needs to be, and tell me the facts, tell me the truth, show me exactly what I did right, what I did wrong, what I need to do, and what I don't need to do, versus me finding out on my own the trials and errors of a fighter, Because I've been there, I've done it, I've seen it, I coached it, I've been it, so all of those have been me.
Last episode, we discussed as a coach where you learned and you evolved, like what mistakes you were doing and how you changed it, how you start taking more ownership and blaming yourself more. We discussed that. But this episode, I want to actually switch it around. Rather than discussing the negative, let's discuss the positive this week. What do you think went, like, where do you think you're different than other coaches? Where do you think you're right? Where do you know what I mean?
I don't look at where I'm right compared to the coaches, so I just know what I
like. What differentiates you? Like, let's say, like, actually, this one I've got, like, this is my thing. I know for sure that I've done it well, and I'm proud of what I've done.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't say. I can tell you what I'm very proud of is my game planning.
Okay.
Strategy. I'm very proud of that, but am I better than everybody else? I don't know.
No. Okay, maybe that's the wrong question for me to ask. But let's say, what's something you're proud of?
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I can devise a good game plan and my fighters can execute it. And I would consider myself one of the best at it. I consider myself right at the top of the heap with everybody. The top coaches. Yeah, in that regard. As far as coaching technique, I don't think I'm that confident to say that. But strategy and implementing and building the mindset. On the mindset, I'm probably top 10 in mindset building, and people, maybe people will say I'm higher than that. I don't know, but I'll just give myself top 10 on the mindset, because it's a big attribute that I have, because, people ask me, how did I build all my champions? How did that? With mindset, I got in their head. I got them to believe in themselves, and the faults in the real, sometimes people, they think, I can kick this guy's butt. Well, no, you can't. So it's up to me to show them they can't and prove to them they can't, and then show them where they can. So it's not like, don't leave them alone thinking they can do this when they can't, because they're going to go into that fight going with the wrong game plan. They need to go in with something that works. So you have to work on that. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. For me to tell you, it's easy, it's not. If there was that easy, everybody would do it.
Wait, what's not easy? Which one? The mindset or the game
mindset? The mindset. The game plan is not so hard. The mindset's very hard. Very, very hard.
So can you tell me more?
Well, it's like I was telling, if you tell somebody...
Can you give me a real example?
Okay, well, a real example, okay. We'll use Khabib. I use this one all the time. Okay, he's fighting Conor. Okay, and I'm telling him, you have to have your mindset to the point where you can't let this guy affect you. You cannot let him affect you in any way, because he's going to get the advantage come fight time. He's going to use the art of war on you, and he's going to talk about your religion. He's going to talk about your country. He's going to talk about your family, your wife, your manager, and maybe even me. I don't know about me, but he's going to talk about the other ones. I guarantee it, So sure enough, I tell him, you can't let him win. So the mindset I got him in is almost every week I would speak to him almost on a daily basis, what he's going to do. And I'll be, yes, coach. So Khabib heard it so much 2 months out that come fight time, when he met him in a press conference and all these showdowns, Khabib beat the guy. He beat him every single time, to the point where we were doing they had the press conference, right? And they were going to go both talk right at the same time. Well, Khabib told me, he said, Coach, what do you think? Conor's going to be late. I'm going to go and do my thing. I'm only obligated for 15 minutes. I'm going to do my thing, and then I'm going to take off. What do you think about that? I go, that's a genius, because he's going to come in strutting, thinking, blah, blah, blah. You're waiting for him. So he's making you wait, but you're actually gone. So he's going to be, what the hell? And that's exactly what happened. Khabib did his 15 minutes and left. So the mindset, so he won again. So already we went into the fight the winner.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful. So you already put it in his head what was going to happen. Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest press conference. Not the one where Conor didn't show up, the one before where Conor stepped the line and he said what he had to say. But yeah, and you saw Khabib calm and composed.
Yeah, even when he tried to give him the proper 12 whiskey, because I don't drink. It's like Khabib handled that beautifully. But you think it was just because we talked about it that day?
No,
that was 2 months out. Mindset was built 2 months out for this fight. It was not built that day of the press conference, or that day of the fight. That was 2 months out with his father and myself working on him, talking to him about what he needs to do, not this guy disrupt your mind, or disrupt your training, disrupt the game plan of what you're going to do with this guy. That was 2 months out.
Do you, with your students, still do this? Like, for example, did they learn from the Khabib and the Conor thing, or do you still have to do it till this day with Islam and Omar?
Well, we have to do it with all of them. And with Islam, honestly speaking, he's the one I have to do the least amount of anything, because he listens to the team talks from all the coaches, and he takes it in, and he takes the good and the bad, and he comes out with his own style.
He learns from the others.
He's perfect. He's perfect in what he does. He is perfect. I have nothing but admiration and love for what he does as a fighter and what he does listening to all his coaches. You know, I'm not the one he listens to only. He listens to Khabib, he listens to Magomed, he listens to Saif Safullah, you know, he listens to Muhammad, the boxing coach. He has 5 coaches that he listens to. He listens to all of them. He is perfect in that department, you know, and they're not all like that, but he is. Like Usman, he needs Khabib and he needs me. We're the 2 most important people for him. No one else, really, to be honest with you. We're the 2 most important for him. But for Islam, all 5 of those coaches are very, very important. But for Usman, it's me and Khabib.
Speaking of your students, Tony was saying recently that Khabib was supposed to be his opposite coach and Tough, the Ultimate Fighter.
Years ago.
Yeah, and it fell off because of personal matters. Now that we see that coaches can be facing each other without fighting, like Chael Sonnen and DC, could you see this happening between Tony and Khabib? That they could be coaches, but they don't have to fight each other eventually.
They don't have to fight each other. They could be coaches. But the only way I see this happening is if Khabib has the time and has the desire to do it. He's so busy. I don't even get to see the guy. I mean, he's so damn busy. So he has many things he's doing. He's a great businessman, great father, you know, and so he has many things on his plate. So if it's on his radar and this is what he wants to do and it's offered to him, him and Tony would be unbelievable. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see the banter, because I like Tony. I think he's funny. I mean, come on. It's like these guys was the greatest fight that never was.
Yeah.
You know, it was the greatest fight that never was. So there was so great hype about this, and one got injured, the other got injured, one this, one that. I mean, it was really none of their faults. It was none of their faults. It's just injuries. You just did not allow this to happen. The stars were not aligned for this particular fight.
Yes.
And maybe it'll be aligned for them as coaches. I don't know, but I don't know if it's been offered. I have zero idea, you know. But I would think if Khabib was interested, he would call me and say, "Coach, we're gonna do this. Okay, you ready?" And I said, "Okay," because I'm gonna definitely be one of the coaches. He's not gonna leave me out. You know, there's no way. You know, so I would know about it, but I have not heard anything about it. Doesn't mean it won't happen, because sometimes Khabib will just tell me did it, and then he just tells me, and I just go. That's the way we have that relationship where he'll tell me, "Coach, I need you at this time." I said, "Okay, I'm ready to go."
Yeah. I mean, would you like that? Would you like the whole idea?
To be honest with you, only if Khabib did. For me, I'm so happy here in Dubai doing what I'm doing, man.
Yeah.
I enjoy what I'm doing. And I got to tell you one thing, you know, I've been training Czech, you know, Maktoum bin Hamdan, you know, and I've been training him for maybe a little over a year now. And this guy's got so much power. It's like, oh my God, his power is so incredible. And I just told him, I said, you know what? I had to tell you, I go, just recently, just this week past, I said, I got to give you now. I was always saying you were top 10, then top 5. And even though he'll never fight, but power in explosion.
Yeah.
He's number 1 out of anybody I've ever trained. Number 1.
Wow.
And number 1. And if this guy had it in him to fight, if he had it in to fight, oh my God, people... He'd be Mike Tyson and everybody, man.
Wow.
He has enormous power. Enormous. Oh, yeah. He hurts me. He's so conscious of what he's damn doing that, you know, I go, "Hey, go hit hard." He's looking at me like he's got that look in his eye like, "Coach," I go, "No, go ahead." And so on. He goes, "You sure?" And it's like, yeah. So he hits it, right? And then all of a sudden he goes, "I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry." I'm go, "What do you mean? What are you sorry about?" He goes, "Oh, I hurt you." I go, "No, you didn't. I'm good. You didn't hurt me." So I'm literally, seriously, I'm going, "No, you didn't hurt me. Like my arms. I'm good. I'm fine." 2 days later, I'm going like this. I'm going, I feel a twing right there. I'm like, oh no, son of a gun. I go, that's, he figured it out. He goes, "I heard him, Coach." And I go, "How'd you know you hurt me?" He goes, "Well, when I saw your arm go like this and I like twitch," and I'm like, oh, unbelievable. Some people have that just so attention to detail in the body, everything he picks up just like perfect.
Wow.
You know, and he did that. And then so the last time he says, I said, go hit on the left hook. I said, hit hard. And this time I said, okay, I better brace myself because, you know, I'm not ready, because he goes light. He goes light, super, super light. And then when I say go hard, he's kind of looking at me like, I don't know if I should. But I said, no, go ahead, go ahead. And then all of a sudden he hit, and I'm going, thank God I'm ready for that. Thank God I was ready for that, because I've never had in my life someone that can just rip my freaking shoulders off by not holding properly. I have to do it to the point where I can't feed it. I have to let it go. I have to let it go. Just relax my arms, just let it go. Because if I give any force, he's so explosive and so much power that, I mean, he ripped my, first time I held from him, he ripped my shoulder.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And that's just natural. That's not me teaching anything. That's just natural.
Wow.
Yeah. Some people have that, you know.
Yeah.
He has it in abundance, you know. He's got it in abundance.
So you think power is not always taught? I mean, for sure it's not always taught. Some of it's natural, but sometimes I wonder how much of it is natural. Like,
for him, it's more natural than me teaching him. It's more natural. For Cain Velasquez, that was me teaching him.
How to bring it out.
He didn't have nothing. Used to call him pillow hands.
Yeah.
So no, Cain Velasquez, I had to work the technique and get him to refine his power. So he was able to hit fairly decent at the end, but he had no power, zero power, you know, compared to the power he had now. But Sheikh, no, he right from the
natural.
Right from the get-go. You know, right from the get-go, he had natural power. Now I just techniqued better, tightened him up, and now it's unbelievable, unbelievable.
My question is the force of, like, the power, the volume of the power. When we say it's natural versus it's taught, my question to you is it based on the technique? Like, for example, the natural person has maybe grasped the idea of where the movement should start and where it should end. That's why we say he's more natural, because maybe his technique from the beginning was better than the average person. Or there is something really, like, as in power, like just
there's both. There's both. You're hitting both, but you're correct on both. Because some people, you know, they'll just barely just touch you like this, and you don't feel nothing. Some people, they hit you and go, damn, he just barely touched me. It's like heavy-handed. They call it heavy-handed. You know, I had one friend of mine. He was a little guy. It was Jerry Ferrillo, and he was, you know, he was a pro boxer back in the day when I was fighting, and he was heavy-handed. He just like touched me like this, and I'm like, damn, dude, quit.
But is he heavy?
Heavy? No, he's a little guy. He was a lightweight. You know, he fought as in the lightweight division in boxing.
How does that make sense?
Because he's heavy-handed. I don't know how to make sense of that other than the heavy-boned or something. I don't know. Some guys. I have one guy that was a student, slow, very, very, very slow, like this. But when he hits you, it's like, you go, damn, this guy hit hard. So yeah, some people just heavy-handed. Some people not. They powder puff, like Cain Velasquez style. Pillows until you.
Yeah, but pillows, because maybe he could not figure out how to move probably his hips, his legs to get the power out.
Yeah, obviously, all that's correct. Obviously, for me to say, no, obviously it's correct, because that's what brings out the power, the technique. So, but a guy that has natural power has power already. You just enhance the power with the technique, doing everything you're talking about. So a person doesn't have power, when you teach that technique, you bring out the best in him. A guy like, you know, Maktoum, he has the power already. So I just made it better. That's all.
Okay.
I made it better. He had the power, but I made it better. So I'm not going to say I didn't make it better, because then I would have said he's the hardest hitter ever. But I didn't say that till after a year. To this day, I'm saying that now. He's the hardest hitter I've ever worked mitts with. Wow. I worked with many heavyweights, you know. Yeah. Many heavyweights. And he's the hardest one.
Wow.
And he's not the fighter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it doesn't come from, you know, the technique as much as also raw power. He had raw power. The technique adds more to that. Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe. It's a new channel. We need the subscribers. Like this video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening, please subscribe over there as well. Thank you, Coach.
We're out.
Out.